Most people treat their evenings as nothing more than recovery time. They work all day, deal with pressure, deadlines, people, traffic, stress, and when the evening arrives, their only goal is to shut down. They sit on the couch, grab their phone, turn on the TV, and tell themselves they deserve it. And in a way, they're right. Rest is necessary. But the problem is not rest. The problem is when rest becomes the only purpose of the evening. That's when progress quietly dies. When you use your evenings only to recover, you're not preparing for a better future. You're just recovering so you can repeat the same life tomorrow. You're not building momentum, you're maintaining stagnation. And maintenance might feel safe, but it never leads to growth. Growth requires intention. Growth requires design. Growth requires you to decide that even though you're tired, your future matters more than your comfort. Think about it this way. If every evening looks the same, why would next year look any different? Time doesn't transform your life. How you use time does. And evenings are not neutral. They either move you forward or they hold you back. There is no such thing as a wasted evening that has no consequences. The consequences just arrive quietly, months later, in the form of regret, frustration, and unrealized potential. Rest is meant to restore you, not trap you. True recovery makes you stronger. But most evening habits don't restore strength. They numb awareness. Endless scrolling doesn't heal you. Mindless entertainment doesn't recharge you. It distracts you long enough for you to forget that something inside you is unfinished. That's why people wake up tired even after a full night's sleep. Their bodies rested, but their lives didn't move. Evenings are powerful because they are free from external control. During the day, someone else often owns your time. Your job, your clients, your responsibilities dictate your hours. But the evening is where ownership returns. And what you do with what you own reveals what you value. If every evening is surrendered to comfort, distraction, and avoidance, then comfort, not growth, is your highest priority, whether you admit it or not. This doesn't mean your evenings should become another stressful work shift. It means they should become intentional. A portion of your evening should be reserved for becoming more than you were this morning. That might mean learning something new. It might mean developing a skill. It might mean strengthening your mindset, your discipline, your faith, or your physical health. The activity matters less than the direction. The direction must be forward. The truth is, exhaustion is often exaggerated by a lack of purpose. When you know your evening has meaning, you find energy you didn't think you had. Purpose fuels stamina. That's why people can watch hours of content without feeling tired, but feel too exhausted to spend 30 minutes improving their life. It's not an energy problem, it's a priority problem. Your evening is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. If that bridge is weak, your future will always feel far away. But when you strengthen it, day by day, something shifts internally. You stop feeling like life is happening to you and start feeling like you are shaping it. Confidence grows when you keep promises to yourself, especially when no one is watching. Most people wait for motivation to use their evenings well. That wait never ends. Successful people don't wait for motivation. They rely on structure. They decide in advance that their evenings will not be wasted, no matter how they feel. Feelings are temporary. Results are permanent. If you want a different life, you must give your evenings a different assignment, not every minute, but every day. Because the future you want is not built in the spotlight. It's built quietly, consistently, in the hours most people throw away. Most people don't waste their evenings on purpose. They waste them by default. They finish work without a clear decision about what the evening is supposed to be, and whatever happens next takes control. One notification turns into an hour. One short break turns into the whole night. By the time they realize the evening is gone, it's already too late to do anything meaningful. This is not a discipline problem. This is a decision problem. If you don't decide in advance how your evening will be used, distractions will decide for you. And distractions are never designed to improve your life. They are designed to capture your attention, not to build your future. That's why waiting until the evening starts to see how you feel is one of the most expensive habits a person can have. Feelings are unreliable planners. They change based on mood, energy, and comfort. Decisions, on the other hand, create structure. Structure creates freedom. Clarity eliminates friction. When you already know what your evening is for, you don't negotiate with yourself. You don't ask, should I do this or that? You simply execute the plan. The reason high performers appear disciplined is not because they have superhuman willpower, but because they remove unnecessary choices. They decide early so they don't have to decide again when they're tired. An undecided evening is an open door. Everything walks in. Social media, random conversations, low-value activities, procrastination disguised as rest. But when an evening has a clear purpose, distractions lose power. Not because they disappear, but because they are no longer options. The mind obeys what is clear. Confusion invites compromise. Deciding in advance doesn't mean creating a rigid, exhausting schedule. It means assigning intention. It means saying, This evening is for growth, or this time block is for building, or this is when I invest in myself. Even a simple plan beats no plan. 30 intentional minutes outperform 3 unplanned hours every time. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what consistent evenings can do in a year. They think transformation requires massive effort, so they never start. But the real power is in small, repeated decisions. When you decide in advance to use your evenings intentionally, you stop relying on motivation and start relying on identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who doesn't waste time, and that self-image quietly shapes your behavior. Indecision is exhausting. That's why people feel drained even when they haven't done anything productive. Their mental energy was consumed by constant switching, scrolling, choosing, and avoiding. Decision-making burns energy. Pre-decision saves it. When your evening already has a purpose, your mind relaxes because it knows what's next. There's also something powerful about ending the workday with direction instead of drift. Drift makes life feel out of control. Direction restores confidence. Even if the evening plan is simple, following it builds trust with yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of self-discipline. You can't lead yourself if you don't believe yourself. When evenings are decided in advance, they stop feeling short. Time expands when it is intentional. But when evenings are unplanned, they disappear. That's why so many people say, I don't know where the time went. The time went exactly where you didn't tell it not to go. Deciding your evenings ahead of time is an act of self-respect. It's you saying that your future deserves structure, not leftovers. It's understanding that your best life will not be built accidentally. It will be built deliberately, one decision at a time, long before the moment arrives. If you want your evenings to stop slipping through your fingers, stop leaving them open-ended. Decide their purpose before the day ends, because the quality of your decisions determines the quality of your direction, and direction determines where your life eventually lands. People guard their money with more seriousness than they guard their time, even though time is the only currency that can never be replaced. Money can be lost and earned again. Time, once spent, is gone forever. Yet every evening, people give away hours without resistance, without awareness, and without intention. They allow interruptions, notifications, unnecessary conversations, and random requests to steal pieces of their future, and they don't even realize what it's costing them. Every time your evening is interrupted, you pay a price. The price is focus. The price is momentum. The price is progress. And the most dangerous thing about time leakage is that it doesn't feel dramatic. No alarm goes off. No warning appears. It just slowly drains your potential while you stay busy but unchanged. Successful people understand that protection is more important than effort. You don't need to work harder if you stop allowing leaks. Just like a bucket with holes can never be filled, a life with unprotected evenings can never move forward, no matter how motivated you feel. The issue is not lack of opportunity. The issue is lack of boundaries. Boundaries are not rude. Boundaries are responsible. When you protect your evenings, you're not rejecting people. You're honoring your purpose. Most distractions come disguised as harmless. A quick call, a short message, a few minutes online. But minutes compound. And when those minutes are taken from the only part of the day that truly belongs to you, the cost becomes enormous. Notifications are one of the biggest thieves of modern life. Every alert pulls your mind out of the present and trains it to be reactive instead of intentional. A reactive mind cannot build anything meaningful. It can only respond. That's why protecting your evenings requires you to consciously reduce noise. Silence is not empty. Silence is where clarity grows. When you don't protect your evenings, you send a message to yourself that your time is negotiable. And when your time is negotiable, your goals become optional. People will treat your time exactly the way you treat it. If you make yourself constantly available, you teach others that access to you is more important than progress for you. Protecting your evening doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world. It means choosing what enters your world. It means deciding which conversations matter, which commitments align, and which distractions must be declined. Every yes in the evening should support the life you're trying to build, not sabotage it. High-value outcomes require low-interruption environments. Focus cannot survive chaos. That's why meaningful growth rarely happens in noisy, reactive spaces. It happens in protected, intentional moments. When you defend your evenings, you give your mind the space it needs to think, reflect, and create. Most people wait until they feel overwhelmed before setting boundaries. By then, the damage is already done. The discipline is in setting boundaries before you feel desperate. It's easier to protect your time than to recover lost time. Prevention is always cheaper than regret. The moment you begin to protect your evenings, you'll notice resistance, not from the world, but from habits. Your old patterns will fight for survival. Comfort will try to negotiate. Distractions will promise quick relief, but relief without results is a trap. Growth requires temporary discomfort, but it delivers permanent change. Your evening is sacred because it shapes your direction. What you allow into it determines what grows out of it. When you protect it intentionally, you stop living reactively and start living deliberately. You move from being available to being aligned. The truth is simple. The future rewards those who guard what matters most, and your evenings matter more than you've been taught to believe. Protect them with the seriousness they deserve, and you'll be surprised how quickly your life begins to respond. Most people use their evenings to entertain themselves, not to build themselves. After a long day, entertainment feels like a reward. It's easy, it's comfortable, and it requires nothing from you. You consume, you laugh, you scroll, you watch, and for a moment, the pressure disappears. But the problem with living for entertainment is that it trains you to be a consumer in the very hours that were meant to turn you into a creator. Entertainment gives short-term relief, but building gives long-term freedom. Relief feels good today, freedom feels good for the rest of your life. The reason so many people feel stuck is not because they lack opportunity, but because they spend their evenings feeding their comfort instead of their capacity. Comfort never asks you to grow, it only asks you to stay. Building yourself doesn't mean working non-stop or becoming obsessed with productivity. It means intentionally choosing activities that increase your value. Value in your thinking, value in your skills, value in your discipline, value in your character. When you increase your value, opportunities naturally start finding you. But value is rarely built during passive consumption. Every evening, you're either strengthening something or weakening something. You're strengthening habits, mindsets, or distractions. There is no neutral. When you consistently choose entertainment over development, you slowly weaken your focus, patience, and hunger. Over time, even simple effort begins to feel heavy. That's not laziness, that's conditioning. The people who build meaningful lives understand a simple truth. The most important investments are invisible at first. Reading doesn't immediately change your bank account. Learning a skill doesn't instantly transform your status. Working on your mindset doesn't bring applause. But these quiet investments compound, and when they finally show results, they look like overnight success to everyone else. Entertainment consumes time. Building multiplies time. When you build yourself, every future hour becomes more valuable because you become more capable. That's why spending an evening learning, practicing, or reflecting can save you years of struggle later. What feels slow in the moment is actually speed in disguise. Many people say they don't have the energy to build themselves in the evening. But energy is not only physical, it's emotional and mental. Building creates energy because it aligns you with progress. That alignment produces momentum. Momentum produces motivation. Motivation is not the starting point, it's the result. If your evenings are filled only with entertainment, your mind never stretches. And a mind that never stretches eventually resists growth. That's why new challenges begin to feel intimidating instead of exciting. The brain adapts to ease, and ease becomes the enemy of expansion. Building yourself also changes how you see yourself. You stop identifying as someone who is trying and start identifying as someone who is becoming. Identity shifts behavior more powerfully than goals ever could. When you see yourself as a builder, entertainment naturally moves to its proper place instead of dominating your life. This doesn't mean eliminating entertainment entirely. It means demoting it. Entertainment should follow effort, not replace it. It should refresh you, not define you. When you earn your entertainment through growth, it stops feeling empty and starts feeling deserved. The most successful people in the world are not anti-fun. They are anti-waste. They understand that evenings are too valuable to be sacrificed entirely to distraction. They choose to invest at least part of that time into becoming sharper, wiser, and stronger than they were yesterday. At the end of the day, the question is simple. Are your evenings helping you escape your life, or are they helping you build one you don't need to escape from? The answer to that question will quietly determine the direction of your future. Evenings are when comfort becomes most seductive. After a long day, your mind starts searching for ease, familiarity, and reward. That's when old habits show up and whisper that you've done enough, that tomorrow is a better time, that one small indulgence won't matter. And individually, those habits don't look dangerous, but repeated every evening, they quietly shape the direction of your life. Comfort habits feel harmless because they feel normal, sitting longer than you planned, eating without awareness, scrolling without intention, postponing what you know you should do. None of these habits ruin your life in one night. They ruin it slowly, invisibly, through consistency. What you repeat becomes who you are. Upgrade habits work differently. They don't always feel good in the moment, but they feel good in memory. They strengthen your identity instead of soothing your emotions. They cost effort up front, but they pay you back in confidence, clarity, and capability. The problem is not that people don't know what upgrade habits are. The problem is that comfort habits are easier to choose when you're tired. The key is not eliminating comfort, but replacing it. Every comfort habit exists because it serves a need. The need might be rest, relief, pleasure, or escape. Upgrade habits must meet the same need without destroying your future. For example, movement instead of mindless sitting, learning instead of endless watching, reflection instead of distraction. These upgrades don't deny your humanity, they discipline it. Evenings reveal your true priorities because no one is forcing you. During the day, structure controls you. In the evening, habits do. And habits never lie. If comfort dominates your evenings, growth will always feel optional. But when upgrade habits become automatic, progress becomes inevitable. Many people wait for motivation to change their habits. Motivation is unreliable. Systems are dependable. The smartest way to replace comfort habits is to make upgrade habits easier to start. Reduce friction. Prepare in advance. Decide earlier. When the environment supports growth, willpower becomes less important. Identity plays a powerful role here. If you see yourself as someone who relaxes after work, your habits will protect that identity. If you see yourself as someone who improves every day, your habits will shift to support that self-image. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. Small upgrades compound faster than dramatic changes. A short walk instead of scrolling, a few pages instead of hours of entertainment, a few minutes of planning instead of drifting. These small shifts don't feel heroic, but they are sustainable. And sustainability beats intensity every time. Comfort is not the enemy. Comfort without boundaries is. When comfort becomes your default response to stress, you lose resilience. But when comfort is earned and limited, it becomes restorative instead of destructive. Upgrade habits teach you that you don't need to escape discomfort. You can transform it. Evenings are the training ground for discipline. No one is watching. No one is applauding. That's why the work done here is so powerful. You are not performing for approval. You are building for alignment. And alignment creates inner strength that shows up everywhere else in life. The reason upgrade habits feel difficult at first is because they challenge the version of you that wants to stay the same. Growth always threatens comfort, but once upgrade habits become familiar, comfort shifts. Progress becomes your new normal. In the end, your life is a reflection of what you repeatedly choose when it's easy not to care. Replace comfort habits with upgrade habits, and you don't just change your evenings, you change your identity. And when your identity changes, your future follows.